Good morning. Welcome to the show. Today, I'm going to talk about an article from Time magazine. It's called Synthetic Alcohol Promises to Make Drinking Safer, but Experts Are Wary. This is from the article focuses on a guy called Professor David Nutt, N-U-T-T. I've spoken about this guy a few times, many times over the last few years in conjunction with a study that he made. Comparing the harms, so the harms of the physical harms, the personal harms, and the societal harms, the cultural harms, from alcohol compared to other drugs like heroin and cocaine and things like that. And he said that alcohol came way ahead of all the others. And now this guy is trying to develop a synthetic alcohol, right, which doesn't have the same harm as other people. So anyway, let's have a look at the article, and I'll just talk you through it and talk about my take on this. Like I said, everything that I talk about here on Habits Unplugged is all about trying to get personal responsibility, trying to get the best out of your life, to get to the best possible version of yourself, and to remove things that are taking you away from that. And a lot of the, I think a lot of the processes of getting towards that best possible version of yourself are always going to be changing the way that you view yourself in the world and changing the way that you view the world. I mean, you can change the way, if you change the way that you view the world, you can navigate yourself through the world in a different way, in a much more fulfilling way, I think. And this is the problem with things like this. Anyway, we'll go through the article first. Bit bigger, maybe, yeah. The article starts off by talking about alcohol being embedded in the culture, and then if companies tried to bring it to market today, it would be forbidden by most regulators. It says in the US, but I'd say in the Western world as well, it wouldn't be something that would be allowed. More than 200 health conditions, cancer, dementia, cirrhosis linked to alcohol. It contributes to what are we doing that for? It contributes to 3 million deaths globally each year, many via auto accidents and suicides. And in the US alone, more than 14 people struggle with alcohol use disorder. I mean, that's a different question, so I'm not going to go there. Even that 3 million deaths, I think, is on the low end. I think there's a lot more people that die from this that are not. It doesn't go down on their death certificate. But again, that's for a different story. Then it goes on to say, what if you could get the buzz of a good drink? And that word there, good drink, the good drink, that says it all about our culture. Oh, it's gone back to, hold on, it's gone back to the actual article. So I won't press on any of those things. So this is, I basically downloaded this article because the Time magazine is, I think you can view a couple of articles, and after that you have to purchase a subscription. The easy way to get around that, by the way, is just to go onto Chrome, and they have a, what do they call it now, incognito window. So if you go into that and then put in there, you can watch as many of these things as you want. Okay, so that thing of a good drink without the buzz killing side effects, right? So that's the way that they're putting this. What if you get the buzz of a good drink without the buzz-killing side effects? Right, that's the marketing hype bubbling up from startups around the world, making beverages that promise to make you feel tipsy using the magic of plant extracts and not alcohol. Where have we heard that before? I mean, this is for the past, my lifetime, the magic of plant extracts to help you achieve something, to help you give that magic bullet. I mean, that's what they're trying to say here. These companies claim that after a botanical beverage, you'll feel more sociable and relaxed without getting drunk, eliminating the hangover and the bad decisions that sometimes follow a boozy night. Now, one such startup is this GABA Labs, and they're talking about this active botanical spirit. I'm going to skip down through some of this stuff. So if you want to read the article, like I said, I'll leave the link down below in the description. So they're trying to say that it mimics the effect of alcohol and is meant to top out around the feeling of a glass or two of wine. But its founders want it to go further. They've also created a not yet for sale synthetic alcohol molecule that they say will can be used to create dupes of any booze on the market, from beer to rum to champagne. The company's founders don't yet have enough evidence to legally make claims about their product's health effects. But as we've seen with a lot of other stuff, the evidence that they need, I don't think, is high enough, right, for these things to be put out there. But the implication is clear, right? Synthetic alcohol could capture the good parts of drinking while ditching the death and disease associated with it. That's the implications. Experts aren't convinced. This is where the article really gets into some of the stuff. This Dr. Anna Lemke, Dopamine Nation, a very good book if you haven't read that already. Really good book. She digs into the dopamine pathways and how they affect your neurochemicals. I'll put a link to that down below as well. She says that there's always the promise of some new molecule that's going to do exactly what the old molecule did, but not have the harmful effects. She says every single time that has not panned out. They give examples here. Heroin, for example, was intended to be a safer form of morphine. E-cigarettes were pitched as a less dangerous way to smoke. Neither has worked out as planned. We're going to do a few videos on e-cigarettes. I think it's been requested a few times, and we are Habits Unplugged now instead of just Alcohol Mastery. So I think that's a good one to do. Not sure about the heroin, but we'll do some on e-cigarettes. So then it goes through some of the stuff. Can alcohol really be faked in a healthy way? Blah, blah, blah. This Patricia Powell, and she's from the NIAAA, which is the National Institute on Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism. She says, given the significant harms caused when alcohol is misused, this is an interesting approach. However, it raises a series of questions that we don't have answers to yet. Right? No shit. So there's a couple of people that are talking about this product called Sentia. You can read that if you want to. I mean, you can pause the video and read that if you want to from there. The answer is the name of the GABA Labs, which was founded by David Nutt. This is the neuropsychopharmacologist who used to lead the clinical science of the NIAAA. He's infamous for arguing, based on research he co-published, that alcohol is more dangerous to society than heroin and crack cocaine. We talked about that earlier on. And this is how he formulated this thing. It mimics the effects of GABA, which is why after a glass of wine or beer, you might feel anxiety and less stress. But if one glass turns into many, that feeling might tip over into loss of control, coherence, and eventually consciousness. Now, not wanted to avoid that risk with Sentia, he says. We don't want to produce a massive stimulation, Nutt says. We've also worked to develop compounds which work relatively shortly, so they get in fast and get out fast. That sounds great. So it's not the only kind on its market. There's another couple of things. This psychedelic water went TikTok this year. GABA Labs overworld. Botanical is wonderful, right? Okay, blah blah. This David Oren, is the co-founder of these GABA Labs, and he says something at the end of this article which I think is pretty disturbing, which we'll get to. Since it's plant-based, we've heard a lot about that now. So that's a plant-based is a phrase of the time, which is going to get a lot of people to go, yay, it's cool, it's good for you. So it uses ingredients already used in food products and supplements. I mean, that doesn't say shit, because there's a lot of stuff that's used in food products and supplements that shouldn't be in there and that you should be putting in your body. Without clinical trials for the synthetic molecule and limited studies on Sentia, Oren and Nutt are limited in the promises that they can make. So they're perfectly willing to raise the possibility that they could have big payoffs. No shit. I mean, ask yourself why these people are doing that. You know, if you want to have a good effect that you might expect from alcohol without a lot of things. Some people don't want, including breast cancer and liver cancer and shrinking your brain. That's what they're saying they're doing it, Oren. And it's worth thinking about things we're thinking about, right? So the concept of synthetic alcohol. Before we go to that, I want to go up to this article. This is Dr. Nutt. There he is with his white coat, which makes him look a bit more credible, doesn't it? And again, I'll put the link to this article so you can read it. And he's been testing this new creation on himself. Sounds a bit more like what was the name of the character? Was he Professor Nutt? In the Mad Professor, with there was one years ago with Jerry Lewis, and then the most recent one was Eddie Murphy. I'm sure it was Professor Nutt. Anyway, David Nutt, Professor Nutt, has been testing this new creation on himself, and he says you feel a bit more relaxed, and you start to get a bit chattier when your friends are around the table. Say, "Shut up, Nutt! You're just saying too much," and then you know it's definitely working. So your friends around the table start to say that you're chatting a bit too much. Isn't that what happens sometimes after a load of coffees? I used to take amphetamines years ago, and that used to have the same effect on me. Lots of chatting. So he says, alcohol has been one of my biggest research interests. As a doctor, you're always confronted with the problems of alcohol. Every time you go on the ward, you see someone who's damaged by alcohol. So I've always wanted to give young people an alternative to this addictive, toxic substance, which in the end could, well, we know will, kill 3.5 million people per year prematurely, right? That's I'm always talking about that. So yeah, it's a good thing. And that means that you can potentially, and this is where the real skill and the real science comes in, hence the guy with the white coat there, the real skill and the real science comes in. This is, where am I? The target subtypes and receptors get to the beneficial effects of alcohol and avoid all the subtypes which give you the negative effects, like excessive intoxication, like dependence, like withdrawal, like all the other crap that goes with it, right? But alcohol is the great social drug, so that we are targeting is for people to lose their ambitions around being social, but we don't want them to lose their self-control. Go back to the other article now. And we've already looked at, there's Anna Lemke, when she was talking about the dopamine effects. And what she's basically saying is that any of these drugs that give you that high, they're affecting the same neural pathways that alcohol is. And because they affect those neural pathways in an artificial way, so this is not something that's happening inside your body through your own system. Because this drug is affecting any drug that you take into your system is affecting these pathways, that this drug gets artificially out of whack, and then you need this drug in order to get that same high, right? That you can't get because it's artificially happening to you. You can't get the same high in a normal fashion, in normal life, the way that your brain is designed to do. So the concept of synthetic alcohol is potential, right? This is somebody else that's anytime we can reduce harm associated with things that we do on a daily basis is a positive thing. Thoroughly agree with that. The public really needs to be cautious with new products that promise all the good of a vice without the negative side effects. We don't have any research. We don't have any data, right? This is the same thing as we were talking about with the fake cigarettes, the e-cigarettes, with, as I said earlier on, with heroin being a substitute for morphine because they said it was going to be less dangerous. It was more, scientists have got in there and they'd messed around with it a little bit and they've made it like this hero drug, as where the name heroin comes from. The same thing could be said in so many different areas. Have a look at butter and compared to margarine. Margarine was first touted as being a scientific miracle. Have a look at some of the oils. Go on to Google and Google, there was a program that's called How It's Made. Google how it's made vegetable oil, and you will see the process that vegetable oil goes through. Ask yourself, do you want to put this shit inside your body instead of something that is real? Google also butter, how it's made. You see the simple process that butter is made from, and see this, the complicated and industrial process that all these vegetable oils go through. All right, that's a side there if you want to look at that. So we'll go back to Lemke here, and she says there's no way to get a euphoric effect or a relaxant effect and not have some type of rebound phenomenon in terms of biological systems. There's no free lunch, and that's what we're talking about. There is the more that you artificially stimulate the dopamine receptors or any of these biological systems, the more that you get a bounce back, and it's like you've got a string, you've got an elastic that you keep stretching and stretching and stretching, and eventually that fucker won't go back, right? So, and then there's the marketing, right, which is, I think, the hub of the matter here. I would want to be very careful about how a product that boasts no hangovers and getting drunk without any of the negative side effects will be perceived by teenagers, and how it will be marketed accordingly. Skier, I don't know. Anyway, you can go back and have a look at the article there. So it's synthetic alcohol makes them think of e-cigarettes, a harm reduction product that comes with drawbacks. Like synthetic alcohol, e-cigarettes were invented to keep the good parts of a dangerous habit. Think about that statement. The good parts of a dangerous habit. And we're talking about earlier on about at the beginning of this article, they started out with a good drink. Right? So the good parts are the ritual, the sensation of dragging on a cigarette, the nicotine. Nicotine, have a look at nicotine and look at the shit that's involved with that, while eliminating all the harmful components, right? So, but even if you look at that, the ritual of putting a cigarette into your mouth and dragging on that, and the ritual of rolling up a cigarette, rolling up some dried out weed into a piece of paper, sticking it together with your tongue, right? Or unless you buy tailor-made, it's the same process. Just you haven't done that. You've skipped the first step. Sticking it into your mouth, setting fire to it, and inhaling the smoke. That's some of the good parts of this dangerous habit, right? I mean, if we were looked at by aliens from outer space looking down on us and they saw us doing this, they'd scarper like mad. So it goes on, and then this bit here is from this guy, and this is David Nutt's partner, and he said, alcohol is a wonderful thing that's brought a lot of people together, but there is a huge downside to it, and it's unnecessary. It's an unnecessary downside. If we can deliver this, imagine what that means for families in the future. Imagine what that means for our ability to relax. And underneath all this, do you not think this fucker is going, imagine what all that means to our bank accounts? We're going to go down in the history books as being the creator of this miracle alcohol. I can't remember the name of this thing now, but it sounds very like alcohol. Have a look on the thing anyway. See if it's on here. I mean, he says basically the same thing. Alcohol is a social drug, so that what we are targeting is what we are targeting is for people to lose their inhibitions around being sociable, but we don't want them to lose their self-control. That's the name of it. There is Alcarel. Such a nice name. You cannot get drunk on it. The team is designing the molecule so that the effect plateaus. It's like you've had one or two glasses of wine, but you can't do any more than that. I mean, I think we have to get away from this idea that you need anything at all, that you need an external buzz, that you need. I mean, this guy is talking about, sorry, go back to the other article here. He's talking about if we can, what this means to the families in the future. Imagine what that means to our ability to relax. The idea that you need a substance in order to relax, it beggars belief. This is what we are being taught. This is what we are. They're trying to, not in order for you, but in order to sell a product. If you think these guys are doing this for any altruistic motivation, then think again. They're not doing it for that. They're doing it to sell a product, to make a product that they can sell on the mass market and make a bazillion dollars or whatever currency happens to be around at that stage. But they're making money. That's what they want to do with it. So I don't know. Make up your own mind with this. Like I said, one of the things that I've learned since I've stopped drinking alcohol was or has been, that if I go out and have a walk, get out into the countryside and breathe in fresh air, and I come back in, I feel 10 times better than if I stayed inside and sat on my arse all day, right? If I go out and get exercise, I mean, go for a run for 10 minutes, 15 minutes and see what that does for your whole system, for your whole body. And you're not introducing anything into your system that is bad for you. And it's something that is contributing not only to your immediate health and your immediate gratification, but for your long-term health and your long-term well-being and your long-term gratification and your long-term commitment to yourself, your long-term self-responsibility. Enhances your self-acceptance. It enhances your self-confidence. It enhances so many things about you, not just exercise, but just going out. I mean, what is wrong with, they're talking about here at the end here, what it means to families. If we can deliver this, imagine what it means for families in the future. Alcohol is a wonderful thing that brought a lot of people together. That just in itself is such a fucking horrible idea, right? That we need alcohol to bring people together. It's as if these people have never sat around a table together with other people eating a meal without alcohol. Because food has been around for a lot longer than alcohol has been. Food is something that, we sat around and ate together. Now people don't even do that. There's even if they sit around and they're in the same room together, they're not focusing. They're either watching their screens or they're watching the big screen on the wall, but they're not focusing on each other. They're not trying to be together. Very few people do that. And it's these old-fashioned things, which are not cool anymore, right? That we should be getting back to. And people are trying to seek out a magic substance that they can take that is going to give them something which your body gives you naturally, life gives you naturally, if you do the right things in life. But people don't want to do that. They want to treat their bodies like garbage cans and then go to the doctor or go to the pharmacist or go to the liquor store or go to the drug dealer and try and get a solution to that, so that either they can cure what they've got or they don't have to think about this shit, right? So that they can be oblivious to it and they can turn a blind eye to it and then carry on doing what they're doing, carry on the instant gratification so they don't have to think about the future consequences. But the problem with that is the future consequences are going to catch up with you sooner or later, right? You're much better off now thinking about things, thinking about how, why would you want to put this into your body? Why would you not want to, go through the month or 2 months or whatever it is, the same with e-cigarettes, go through the discomfort of stopping drinking. And that's it. With sugar, go through the discomfort of getting away from manufactured, industrialized products that contain all this shit, right? It doesn't take you long, a month at most, and then start to feed yourself natural sugars, from fruit. And I'm telling you that those sugars will appeal to you then after that, but people don't want to do that. They want to, they switch out the industrial sugars for the extra manufactured that have got nothing to do with reality sugars, the false sugars that they put into whatever they're having. And there's no idea about where this shit is leading people, You're much better off putting yourself through the discomfort in the moment and then, seeing the results and seeing, life is to be lived. Life is to be lived as much as possible. And you want not only the quantity of life, quantity of the years, and these things are going to reduce the quantity of the years, but they're also going to reduce your quality of years. There's no guarantees in life, right? Whether you change anything, you could walk outside. There's a bus stop just outside here, right? And I could walk across the road tomorrow and get hit by a truck, or a bus. But you don't know these things. But like anything in life, you don't live your life like that. You have to live your life like you're going to live for a long time. Most people don't do that. They live their life like life is shit. Life is shit only because you listen to the wrong things, you listen to the wrong people, you're doing the wrong things with yourself. That's what makes your life shit. Yeah, I mean, that's not true with everyone. I mean, there's certain things in life that happen, but it's you either there's certain things that are in your control in life, and there's other things which are not in your control. And the things that are in your control, then control the right way. Think about not only the present and what is going to give you in the present, but how that's going to affect you in the future. And think about your future in that way. Imagine yourself 5 years down the road and where you're going to be if you continue to do the things that you're doing, or where you're going to be if you change your mind. The problem nowadays is there's so much knowledge out there that everyone is dumber because everyone is confused. So yeah, you really have to find people that you trust, find people who are giving you right information, and stick to that. Stick to listening to your body and what your body's telling you. Think about quality life. Anyway, I'm going to go. Take care of yourself. If you want help to stop drinking, you know where we are, habitsv2.com, and also we've got the free course down below. For preparation. It's our quick start guide, absolutely free. Take you less than an hour to do it. Speed up the video and you can watch it in less time. But you'll find that it's will really help you out in stepping across that line with a lot more confidence, a lot more confidence in your own abilities to do this and to be successful. All right, take care of yourself, and I will speak to you again very soon. Onwards and upwards. All right, bye now.